More about the efforts to evacuate those Americans is Virginia Congressman Subramanyam. Congressman, good morning to you. How many constituents have reached out to you? What are some of the stories that you're hearing?
Yeah, we've heard from several people, and we've heard from people all over the country and all over the Commonwealth. They were not warned. I think that's what disappoints me most. They went to the Middle East thinking there wouldn't be attack or there wouldn't be threats to their own safety. But this administration knew when the attack was going to happen, and they should have known that there would be retaliatory attacks all across the region. So now we are where we are. It took way too long for the administration to offer help. If we're going to spend billions on bombs, we should be able to spend some money on getting American citizens out of the region. So now that is happening finally after a lot of pressure from us. And so if constituents are stuck there, or if you know of someone who is stuck there, please reach out to our office. We will help you through the process. You can register with the STEP program at the State Department and make sure that the State Department knows where you are. And then we will make sure that a flight, either a commercial flight or even a military plane, will come and get you.
Congressman, staying on Iran today, as you know, the House is voting on its own war powers resolution. How do you plan to vote on it?
I plan to vote yes. The reality is there is no imminent threat to the United States, and that is a key marker for determining whether the president can legally get into this war. And he's called it a war repeatedly. So the war powers reside in Congress. This is us asserting our war power. If they want to provide us the evidence and work with us on funding this war and supplementals and other mechanisms to help our troops, then he can work with us. But unilaterally starting this is not right. And the reality is, even if this vote fails or he vetoes our vote, he has to come back to us within 60 days. So this is an important marker to show the president that he truly only has a limited amount of time for these strikes, and he cannot bring us into a forever war without Congress getting involved.
Well, the president, the administration continue to talk about these off-ramps that he's trying to identify and keep telling us that this is not going to be a forever war. This is not Iraq. Do you see any off-ramps in that briefing that you got earlier this week? Did they reveal any sort of end game here for the U.S. military operation and or the Iranian people?
Well, the thing about off ramps and plans and long-term plans is you should do them before you do the strikes. I've seen the president focus group different off ramps to reporters. They don't quite know what the off ramp is. They don't quite know what the long-term solution is or what the fallout will be. Even if everything goes right, they take out their Navy, they take out nuclear program, ballistic program. Iran can build a lot of that stuff back up in 6 months. Remember, this president said that he'd completely taken out their nuclear program 6 months ago, and now he's saying it's a threat again, right? So they can rebuild that stuff. And so the question is, who is rebuilding it? And the reality is this administration has not thought through who will take over now that the supreme leader has been killed. And it looks like in Iran, they want the son of the supreme leader to take over, who's not much better, maybe even worse. And so we're ending up in a position where at best, Iran will be in a really messy civil war that will reverberate all across the region. So this has not been thought through. Again, that's why you're supposed to come to Congress. That's why you're supposed to get the buy-in of the American people, is because it's not just about the next couple of months, it's about the next couple of decades.
About the messaging around this conflict, do you believe the administration has a clear objective?
I think their objective has shifted. And so now they're saying it's just a military objective. But, even at their military objectives leave a lot to be desired, because even if you take out all the military targets that you're trying to take out and take down their ballistic missile program, for instance, and their nuclear program, you still end up in a position where Iran is a threat. Right? You still end up in a position where you have a very hostile, maybe even more hostile now, Iran regime that wants to get back at us. And they have cyber capabilities. They have a lot of other capabilities that they have not unleashed yet, and they can unleash them on the American people. And so we have to be very careful in this war. I want what's best for us. I want our troops to be successful. I want this operation to be successful. But the reality is we should have thought it through. We should have exhausted every diplomatic option before getting to this point.
So the concerns of a wider regional conflict have been realized. We've got attacks happening in a lot of places, from Qatar to Cyprus, Azerbaijan now involved. And it's also impacting negotiations between the U.S., Russia, and Ukraine to end that war. Are you concerned here at all that the White House has too many balls in the air right now, and some things that are just as important are falling by the wayside?
Absolutely. And I just wonder if they even thought this through, if they even thought the impact of this on Russia, Ukraine, they thought the impact of this on energy prices. They had a very wishful thinking view on this entire conflict going into it. They thought that this would be a very easy conflict. They thought it would be like Venezuela. All you have to do is take out one person and you'd be able to have a nice outcome. I would argue that Venezuela long term is not going to be a great outcome for us either. But we are where we are right now. And now we have to think through what's going to be the impact all over the world. What's going to be the impact on the American people? Remember, we have Russia, Ukraine. We even have Pakistan, Afghanistan. Everything is connected. And we're right now in a position where this administration is thinking through all these problems as we go. They're building the plane as we fly it. That is not how you conduct a war.
Switching gears here, Congressman, you're part of the House Oversight Committee, which in sort of a surprise move subpoenaed Attorney General Pam Bondi yesterday in its Epstein investigation. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, it's not a surprise to us because we've been trying to get her to testify before a committee. The reality is she has broken the law repeatedly. She has lied to the American people repeatedly. She said she had the client list on her desk last February. She said she would release the files last March. They have ignored a subpoena that we sent out in August, and then they've ignored and violated the law repeatedly that we passed in December. And so for someone who's violating the law repeatedly, they should be coming before our committee to testify as to why they're violating the law and when they plan to follow the law and follow our subpoenas. But she has not done that. I expect her to come in soon. I expect her to be very defiant and not answer her questions, but we're going to ask them anyway.
There were rumblings that the committee might subpoena Howard Lutnick. If I'm not mistaken, he has already just agreed to come in. Correct me if I'm wrong there. What questions do you have for him?
Again, another administration official who has lied to the American people. He has been very inconsistent about his explanations of his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. He clearly did a lot of business with him, was associating with him much later than he let on and told the American people. And so we have questions for him, too. This administration should not be shielding its own people, including President Trump, because they were in the files. They promised the American people to release the files. And this isn't just about sex trafficking. It's about financial crimes. It's about crimes related to sharing state secrets, and the cover up itself is something we need to make sure never happens again. And so we even voted yesterday in the Oversight Committee to release files related to members of Congress who were engaged in sexual misconduct as well, too. So everyone, no matter how rich and powerful they are, should be held accountable, including members of Congress.
We do want to ask you about that, but one more question involving Epstein. After the depositions from the Clintons, you had said that you really want to talk to President Trump, and you also said you want to talk to Melania Trump. What do you think the likelihood of issuing a subpoena for the First Lady will be?
Well, I think it's low because Republicans won't agree. So even in the case of Pam Bondi, we had enough Republicans vote with Democrats to subpoena her. So I think it's a low likelihood. I also think that Trumps believe they are above the law and will not follow our subpoenas, even if we get the votes. But eventually we will push. We will have the votes eventually, and we will push for those subpoenas. And then we will see them in court, because if they don't comply with those subpoenas, we will try to enforce them.
I'm going to go back to what Judy was mentioning, that bill from Representative Nancy Mace to release claims of sexual harassment against lawmakers. It overwhelmingly failed in the House yesterday. Can you tell us why you voted no?
Yeah, there's two things that she did. One, she had a bill on the floor that basically said that we in the Ethics Committee, which I'm a part of, should release all of our materials related to investigations around sexual misconduct. That's not how the Ethics Committee work. We can't pick and choose who gets due process in Congress, but we do release everything whenever we can, whenever legally able to. So I don't think that was the right move. But later on in the Oversight Committee, she moved to release the results of settlements of sexual misconduct, and I voted for that. And so I want transparency and accountability, but I also want to make sure that every member of Congress gets due process. Our investigations do move slow sometimes, but they move faster than the legal process in courts and civil courts. And so we're moving as fast as we can in the Ethics Committee to try to make sure that people get the transparency they want and desire. And we're having a conversation within the Ethics Committee about how we can release certain materials that people are asking for.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. Representative Subramanyam of Virginia, we appreciate the time.